The James Brown George Clinton battle unceremoniously was real in the land of funk. Where Bootsy Collins was kind of like the in between man, and you think about Fred Wesley, and you think about a lot of the cast that went on to play with P Funk, and how the question is more impactful with the bands association with James Brown, George Clinton, the impact. James Brown, the forefather of the funk, and then of course Clinton and P Funk came along, did they brand. Now, James Brown's level of funk was considered conservative to what P Funk was doing in the stylings. But it was admired and appreciated, but it was still seen as different types of funk, a different way to hit. Some people looked at James Brown. James Brown had a strong, thick, down, natural funk. P Funk had a hard funk that hit you with the musicianship. But really, you ask yourself, in ways they drove the bands and the eclectic and the distinctiveness, who hit it in a way um, through the bands and the depth? Which one do you think got the most out of the two? That's the questions that get asked. I'd say James Brown was a better band leader. I think he definitely had this thing where it was all on a military step. It definitely had a way about it. But Clinton made his band more notorious. More people looked at his band and recognized the players, I think, overall. I will say that. I think because you can talk about James Brown's band and love the JBs, and they were bad. Maceo Parker. You know some of the names. But with P Funk, you have debates about, when you're talking about um, the musicianship, about the players, you're thinking about how the lasting impact of what they did from playing and instrumentation and the stylings, it really goes into a whole different level because you think about with Bernie Worrell and Junie Morrison, Mike Hampton and those guys, just the layers that they added, the musicianship, and of course with Bootsy being between the two. So Clinton gets more notoriety, I think, as far as how he showcased his musicians more so. James Brown had them showcased. They were showcased to an extent, but James Brown was the focal point. Clinton somehow was able to, as big as his character was, he had a co-star in Bootsy Collins. Think about that. You couldn't, even though um, James Brown had sidemen and what have you, he was always the main feature on his band. But Clinton shared that light with Bootsy. Sometimes when you have the discussions about in Faces of Funk, Clinton and Bootsy get labeled together. That not happened with James Brown. That didn't happen with James Brown. James Brown was about James Brown. That was utilizing his sound, his style, the vibe, the aura, the whole thing working as one. It was like the sun, the orbit, the moon, and the stars forming as one. I think George Clinton did a better job of showcasing his band in terms of having that opportunity to shine. I think it's a great question because um, there was a lot of talent that played in both, that was associated with both. These are the kind of bands that you wanted to get your chops if you could play and groove. James Brown was definitely, with the talents and the musicianship and the people he had there, and they definitely paid their dues. And some of them went uncredited and they unfortunately didn't get their fair shake. Kind of happened with Clinton's situation because he was running to putting so much together. So they got that in common. But yet, the musicians did shine association with George Clinton a bit more. That's one of the things that I got to say, you know, if I was going to talk about totality. But they both were two of the greatest band leaders, two of the funkiest cats ever, two of the most important leaders of innovative talents. But I have to give Clinton the edge as far as showcasing his musicians better. If I had to, and just keeping it 100, even though they didn't get paid much. So you can take that. James was funny about how he was with the bands and credits, and Clinton was funny about getting up that bag. So, but his musicians did get a chance to shine because people will debate about when they talk about P Funk and the musicianship. They do with James Brown's band, but there seems to me that you get more conversation about Clinton and the P-Funk mob and Funkadelic than you do with James Brown. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Hit them comments below. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like. Hit that membership because when you do questions like this, I do answer. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay real, stay woke. I'm out one time. Peace.